this segment, the decade of the 2000s, we present interviews and performances that depict the journeys that catapulted some local reggae artists to the international artist status. The Y2K problem, or the Millennium Bug, that reportedly had the potential to bring down worldwide infrastructure due to computer systems' inability to distinguish dates correctly, was a non-factor in deterring the reggae artists from putting in musical works. Men and women were busy writing lyrics, creating music, recording tracks, and promoting concerts. One such music producer, musician, and promoter is the man best known as Russ Saji, CEO of Higher Heights Production.
Yes, I bless it. Yes, I do. Well, we started off at Higher Heights Promotion way back with people who know about Virgin Island reggae music. You know, we start off, I talking about when the thing start to hit international market and international level and them things, you know what I mean? So I say we start off with, you know, the Eastbound, the Ann-Paris, you know, and then where is that? You see it? And you know, it's a great venture to see the thing still really going on now stronger than ever. See me? Yes, I do.
Like, yes,
yeah, well, I'm going to tell you straight up, you know, we childhood friends. It's just like Walk with Midnight. Childhood friends where we used to play together. Me and Vaughn used to sit down and watch my father TV together. You know, and from that, everybody is musician by nature. So automatically you just create a unity. You know, and it's not just Vaughn, Rani, Batch, you know, that's attitude. You know, this is man where we grew up, you know, knowing from long time, you know. But with Midnight now, you know, Tuesday we've been friends, and Rani know I done went to the States and do work with, you know, Babyface, L.A. Reid and them and so. You know, he come to me and he know I had certain link. So when he decided to wanted to put out the unpolished CD, right? Here he come down, I was living in a house in Calcahoon, and the fly come in with the thing on a cassette. And when he come down by the house and he played for me and he asked me, Saji, what do you think you could do with this? You think this I could do something? When we listen to the cassette, my lord, I hearing Africa I Belong, Bushman, all the big hit them. So I hearing these things for the first. I said, my lord, the only thing I could see is that you need to probably master the thing a little better and bring it come back. And that same time I just come back from the Atlanta, and I see a lot of the talent on the place. Some man were in a long time. Sabbatical order, Army, Crippleton were being with me in the States, and Vaughn. I say, yo, I hearing all kind of mixtape, reggae gold and all kind of thing, my lad. I say, you know something? We could put something together and do something international, man. Trust me, it could work. So I went down and I went and checked sabbatical and all the artists them. Me and Ronnie Benjamin, gather the music. And I went to Josephat, my brethren from long time, you know. So I said, Josephat, we got the music and we got the artists them. My studio in Atlanta. Let me use your studio and record the thing. You know, two of them man doing thing long time and not never really been prosperous. I went no place, he just feel like, what? Yo, I don't think this thing ain't no place, brother. If you want to use my studio, pay me money. I said, what? I said, all right. Gather the ends, pay he, went there, record Eastbound 1. We record Eastbound 1. You know, that was sabbatical, Army, Akabeka. And you know, that's some of them, other than Akabeka, where we call Akabeka now, Vaughn. Other than Vaughn, Nobody else ever been in a studio. Sabbatical order, heights, Mount Zion, FI. First time them man touch studio and the works.
My cry, oh, Shawawa, Shawawa, the concept of my Rastafari, Mozart,
Well, you know, we when I decided to put out the first compilation CD, well, maybe not the first, but the first that we internationally promote. You check Eastbound One Army, one of the artists them. We know that he never been in a studio, so we didn't expect it to come, your studio ready and fully prepared. So me and Ronnie Benjamin, Junior, because the senior is a serious musician too, right? So let me get straight the Junior. Right? We decided to go down by Princess to, go vibes with the army. Get the rhythm and, we sit down and, we sit down with the army that day and we write the song. If you love sleep, you end up in poverty.
Said if you love sleep, you will end up in poverty. Yeah, and if you love slumber, you will lose your very soul. Yeah, if you love sleep, you will end up in poverty.
Just so powerful. The things start to catch on like wildfire all over. People start to just gravitate to the thing. And it just been some mistake. Because I know what happening now. We got the first CD release party we do for the Unpolished and the Eastbound One. That's where I hired Dean Pan to he was in charge of the banner thing, either the banner or the sound system. For me. And all them things that generate more things because then them must start to come with things, then other people catching on wildfire because the scene like it's not just that. When Saji said Eastbound 2 coming out, if I tell you May 31st early morning, I got a line in front of my house. Yes, well, I do work for Goldfish, but he did a CD with Joseph after the Eastbound them and them things about them come out here, do a CD with Mountain Sound. Yeah. But Goldfish used to always a man come in my studio and sing and, always, big you up and he come and he bless up the thing.
But we are partying tonight, just a statement. Yeah, man. Sing why we are partying tonight. Let me tell you, I wish I used to I rock the party. Keeps you moving on body, everybody gets crazy. Here we go, now we go. Are you ready to go home now? I want to see the first already come on and fly.
Glickle but with Talawa is a popular Jamaican saying and can be applied to St. Croix. Musicians realized from an early stage that in order to become successful in the reggae music industry, they will have to travel out and spread the message to the world. Many musicians and artists alike travel abroad seeking recording contract opportunities, touring experiences, or just to network with Jamaican reggae artists. Long-time acquaintance, bassist, drummer, keyboardist, sounds engineer, and music producer from St. Croix, Dean Pan came out of his humble space to share some international experiences that he garnered over the years and now able to share with our artists here in the Virgin Islands. Dean Pan, we see you as a keyboardist and a music director with the band Dub 340, working alongside musicians such as Alwyn Daddy Jones Baptiste on keyboards, Ryan Wilson on bass, Junie on drums, Waylon Massicat on guitar, Regina Dishabert, Cindy Burke, and Blacklist Crease on backing vocals. How did all this begin?
Started, that's a tough question because I feel like ever since I know myself from my youth, I always been into music. I always loved music, drums particularly, and so I always gravitated to music and sports, but mostly music. And when I was in, let me go back as far as my high school days. I was in a band called Musical Dreads. That was me, Swan, and Ice, 3-piece reggae band. And Quiet Fire. I guess those guys kind of liked the way I played, and they invite me to come out and do a gig with them. It was supposed to just be a one-off kind of thing, because their brother Bobby Richards at the time had moved to the States, and they were trying to figure out who's gonna be the next drummer of the band. So I'm in high school, and these guys, they come check me. I went and do a couple shows with them, and I turned out to be the drummer for Quiet Fire. Now, if anybody know Quiet Fire, we talking about the top musicians on the island. Devin Carrington, Tony Richards, Ricky Richards, Panther, amazing musicians. And they kind of helped to mold me because I didn't have the experience that they did. And they taught me a lot, discipline, and just to focus on certain aspects of the music. So yeah, I give thanks to them. From that, I gonna jump to it was around the late 80s. I had finished school or left school. I was in college at the time and trying to figure out what's my next move. I moved to Charlotte, North Carolina, and link up with Swan again. And we were doing some gigging, and then that transitioned to me wanting to form a band. So I got some guys up there together, and we formed Dub Mystic, is the name of the band. We started doing local gigs, and then it started to be, working out in the triad areas, North Carolina, South Carolina, those areas, just up and down, just gigging.
What genre of music you were playing?
Reggae.
Mostly
reggae.
Okay.
We were a reggae band,
okay,
to say. Culture came through on tour, Myrtle Beach at the time, and we opened for Culture. And we kind of left an impression on them. And they were like, yo, this band tight, and maybe we could do some work in the future. Not thinking anything will come out tight.
Yeah.
Less than a year later, they had 3 shows scheduled in the Carolina area. And instead of traveling with a band from Jamaica, they said, hey, can this band back us up? So we did the 3 shows. They weren't impressed. Afterwards, the man them say, all right, yeah, we love how the man them sound, and you never know, we'll give you a call again. The next phone call we got a few months later was they had a tour in Europe. This was around 1991. And then my name said, yo, we'd like to take this band on tour.
Wow.
So we had to, try to get visa work together. We had a short period of time, so we did what we had to do. And got all our passports stamped and boom, on
They
tour.
had a 3-core group. They had all the musicians that they fill in.
No, they took the band, Dub Mystic. They took
Okay.
our band, Dub Mystic, on tour. We had our lead vocalist was, because at the time Culture was just Joseph Hill and Albert Walker. They didn't have the third member, so our lead vocalist was the acting third member of the band at the time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Which
which was eerie.
The record too.
Yeah, so, and it went from that. I'm gonna fast forward. It
Yeah.
went on that, and I ran with Culture for almost 10 years as their drummer, and within that time frame, I played bass for like 2 years, because we got into a situation where we had a tour schedule, and the bass player last minute decided, for some reason he couldn't make it. So we were trying to figure out what's the next move.
So when you learned to play the bass, you just on your own?
No, I bass actually was the first instrument that I picked up.
Oh, okay.
Before drums,
Okay.
yeah. I just always loved drums, so and my mom bought me a bass because she never wanted a noise in the house.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, hold on to this and play this until, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but I forced a hand and I eventually got my drums. But anyway, yeah, so the drummer, the engineer at the time was a drummer, Dexter.
Okay.
So I'm like, Dex. And then Culture's son, Kenyatta Hill, which is now the lead singer for Culture, he was like an aspiring engineer. He definitely had an ear for it, and he was learning fast because he always would come around the board and So we said, all right, this is what we're gonna do. Yatta, you engineer, Dexter, drums, I'm gonna play bass. And then man was like, Dean, you serious? You sure? I'm like, yeah, don't worry, we got this. And that's what we did, man. We did that for 2 years. In fact, we ended up recording an album with Dexter playing drums, because Culture album, trust me, that's me on bass, Dexter on drums, Swan on guitar, and a couple other musicians on J. So in 1996, I moved back home briefly, and music is what I knew. So I wanted to, and I had just started producing around that time, and then I link up with Swan again, then Army, and we recorded one song. We did a cover song, I Shall Be Released.
I Shall Be Released.
Yeah, that's the first song I recorded with Army. It came out good, and then we decided to do an album. And we worked on the album, got some of my friends involved. Ronnie did some production in it from Midnight. Tough Lion did some production as well. And yeah, we recorded the album in my living room.
Okay.
Yeah, vocals and everything. Crazy.
So this is yesterday's news album?
Yesterday's news album.
Another little future down. Now is this the only way? Am I going with the ground? Military soldiers. Now you got the right to keep personal over. When will the truth reveal? Military soldiers. Now you got the right to keep personal over. When will the truth reveal? So bring it alive, open up high at the sound. Where did I be? Someone needs to make you rest. I know what I do, I listen to me, listen to me. All them are suffering, and then it's not true. And then I'm holding up on this one. never ever lose our faith and get so tread up in the ghetto, stand for all your roots. Never put a come here, but this stranger lose. Got them public money, now they make you so. That's why Babylon, you know we not
Homegrown kind of change. I mean, I don't want to say it. I don't want to say the wrong thing, but when the Homegrown came out, it was the first time that you heard the local musician covering local, because everybody was playing the Apostle song.
Get to Life Hard?
No, they wasn't even Get to Life Hard.
Oh,
I love to see the Ghetto use them extremely,
yeah.
which is My Vision of the name of the song.
Right.
Yeah, and when you was playing every car on the road,
Yeah,
every
man.
radio station bumping the Homegrown hard. Glamorous Records, actually, I did that album alongside Glamorous, man like Alistan, Blight, Mo, Robbie.
Want to get the name every time. Hey, and let's tell it. I got so and so to everybody that came up here again tonight. Big up for ourselves for coming out here. I'm gonna bring to you for the Glamorous Records camp, Russ Ika. Yeah, hey, I ain't sharing. I mean, at least. Okay. Yeah. No, I saw you they sing great. Right.
I with my head on high, I'm I will lift my head up to Mount Zion. Yes, I will. From whence my God came from. And he who keepeth me shall never slumber. No, he won't. Neither shall he sleep. Sleep. Just run to one night. Strong hands and a firm meditation. Now I can clearly see my circumcision manifesting through me. Give me deep inspirations in my times of need. Yes, he did. Deep meditation, it soothes my worries. And now I can rejoice triumphantly. Emmanuel, holy, the overseer, we are about to know the world hard. Because my soul belongs in the Irene. Emmanuel, holy, the overseer, we are.
Yeah, if you never notice all the things that I do, my Lord, always walking island. You know? I never just do things and just think about things, right? Star Lion. I there in my house at night, you know, meditating on the show and things. Russ Manny used to be the manager for Star Lion. He called me and said, Saji, that click at you, you know, the man said, name Star Lion family, the man said they would do anything to be on the show, you know. The man said they in cave, they got to sleep on the ground. I said, wait, say Manny? He said they in cave, they got to sleep on the ground. I said, tell them don't worry about nothing. I went with my brother in Jomo. In Princess, I said, Jomo, I need your house for the weekend. Jomo said, what happens? I said, I got click up, I need a place to stay for the show. Jomo said, no problem. He said, I go chef for them. I said, all right, they call money and tell them I'm going to buy the ticket. And I bring them over. And I'm going to tell you, man, when that man touch the stage, I was ready to buy the ticket again 10 more times. Yeah, man, not like that man pressure.
Yeah.
I ain't know if I remember all them. Pressure, Icarus, Nayora, Kimby, Rafaija. Oh, man. Yeah. Man, yo, them man went on like, boy, yo, Rastafari. Yeah. Jano, good vibes, you know.
Now we got some serious talent from Rock City, St. Thomas. Yeah. I got like 6 people up here. That's a Star Lion family. We got 7 people in this. 7. Like not 6. They coming up represented with 6 tonight. These ladies killing me. Wow. 6 people tonight. Star Lion family. Rock City. They hype up. They gonna fun it up. What's that? Are you ready to come on? Yeah, am I ready to come on? We ready? Yeah, nice. The Star Lion family, right about now. Give it up. See, give it up. Let me clap. Yeah. Let me to like give a clap, like round of applause. Star Lion family.
Yeah. I people. Sure. Rastafari. Are you ready to put more fire upon Bumba class? In a swag and say, are you ready to put more fire upon Babylon? Put more fire upon the politician there. Yes, are you ready for the fire? So my name is pressure. Yeah, we have to put more pressure upon Babylon in the swag and say. Babylon come harass me. See the rest of me better cool and just pass me. Hey, hold on. Because what? Yeah. One second, one more time. Yeah. So I say I do. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Because I finish the highway. Chance with the lion and some chance with the spider. Get to do. Because I finish the highway. Man from 6 fire now. Wicked every time I make a young. Because I finish the highway. Chance with the lion and every chance with the spider. Oh, yeah. Because I finish the I say every time Babylon come harass me. See the rest of man, you better pull and just pass me. We are God to the power of the Trinity. Let us meditate and just give me this majesty of fire. That the world want blast with especially Russ and Yura. We do deadly love. With the Star Lion family. Put a hat up on your man mobile philosophy. You don't know. Them man deal with hypocrisy. In a Ethiopia we trample. Italy get away from the throne of Selassie. The emperor of people of the Mussolini. So me tell you, because I feel this a highway. Can't be the lion and can't be the spider. Because I feel this a highway. I'm an African is so beautiful and high. We are. Because I feel this a highway. Can't be the lion and can't be the get on yours. Because I feel this a highway. Because I feel this a highway. Send Christ and the pinnacle. Let Rastafari perform the miracle. Let the human possible. Anything possible. And for us at CIA, the unstoppable. And now there's a carnival. We know how to criminal. We know how to kill the body boy. In the opera. And some other funeral. And it was critical. Hey, Rastafari is the ironical. Trouble on the funeral. Treat them like an animal. Somebody's a fire body boy. Get a belly boy. We know how to carnival. Never the funeral. Hey, Rastafari is the ironical. Because I feel this a highway. Can't be the lion and some can't be the spider. Get on you. Because I feel this a highway.
It was after the Royal Reggae Fest. They came when I first saw Star Lion family perform, and I was blown away. The energy of the group, the talent level. I mean, everybody had their own unique style, and it was at the Royal Reggae Fest Island Center. Yeah, man, them blew my mind, and I guess at that time I was kind of, one of the name producers on the island, and me and a couple of them had a reason, pressure particularly, and we talk about doing a project, and that project manifested in 2005 with The Pressure Is On, and that album kind of led to him linking up with Dan Corleone, who produced Love and Affection. I can tell you, a small story about that. Dan, I was in Guitar Center at the time, back in the corporate world working. Dan was one of my clients. Every time he would come to Florida, he would link me up to buy gear, equipment. So one time he passed through, I said, Dan, check out the CD. Let me know what you think. About 15 minutes after he leave the store, he was like, yo, who is the artist? Man, bad. He said, I like his singing voice. He chants well, but I love the way he sings. And I would love to do something with him. And like I said, the rest is history, man. Love and Affection was created. I recorded that song with Pressure in my studio in Florida. And we left the studio that night, went outside and played it in the car until like 4:30, almost 5 in the morning. And we kept saying the same thing. Every time the song done play, we say, yo, if this song is not a hit, we're done. We quit. This is it, Pressure. Yeah. Great. Yeah, and it turned out to be, that's the song that catapulted Pressure to, next level. Yeah.
Whenever that we make love, I am ready to take it off. And I'm so glad that I made you. All my girls sing, whoa, keep that pressure right. Yeah, will keep you warm and safe. Make it worthwhile just to and I with love the most I create. Let's all the family and make. Alright, I want to hear everybody in this thing that part I know. Are you too personal of my people? Let me give you some love. You got my you need no courage. Made up for blessings in your life. You got my what's that? There's no.
When we speak of rising to international status as a Virgin Islands musician or artist, it takes more than networking with mainland or Jamaican recording artists and producers. Despite the progress made by the year 2000, many artists still struggled with marketing their music. Most weren't fortunate to have managers in a position to handle the business aspects of their careers, and it wasn't like local radio stations were focusing on developing local reggae artists. That is, until a crucial youth who was an artist in his own right took it upon himself to promote homegrown reggae music and artists. Initially, he started as a DJ with his own sound, compiling homegrown music on various artists' CDs and making them available for fans. His persistence landed him his own show on the radio station called the Virgin Islands Reggae Authority. It was in that station's FM studio that we were able to speak with Alton Krieger, or Ninja P, and ask how he got involved with all this Rasta and reggae music vibes on St. Croix.
We got a lot of artists before Boston, large up to them. Tony, Richard, all of them, man. Devon Peter, we go way back. Right? Hey, someone punch, hey, I could go way back, right? Benjamin Senior, way back, man. Hey, Cultural Foundation. Hey, someone thing I could say, Zeus and the Cash, hey, I miss Zeus, trust me. But let me tell you what, sabbatical order, right? Mash up any show, no? Lyrics like, hey, not serve the pot of gold, what the leprechaun try to find. Yeah, ain't enough. Like the lyrics that he gonna spit and the fire, sabbatical order. You gonna catch him, yeah, man, on the Eastbound one. Your big album, Heart of Joy. Trust me, even if you're not employed, you can hear him and catch a joy.
Please, everybody, welcome. Sabbatical order. Sabbatical. They want to feel my black people. They want to feel my black people. Black people, you feel the vibes. If people come on the stage and do it right, then do it right. You don't feel the vibes. More fire. Vision. Let it go. Same voice. Mix it.
In a vision, St. John. Grasshopper, my brethren. Yeah, man. Yeah, but you see, that's what I tell you, is a man like this. I hear them on the radio and I want them on the show. I went St. John. By Grasshopper house, he put me up. Went in the practice rehearsal and started it out because I want in a vision. That's how I move. You know, and I never look at them because they international artists, you know. Treat all them the same way, you know. When I bring Beanie Man, I bring all them Kimani, all them other artists. I treat my local artists them the same way. You see me? Yeah. So, you know, I went St. John, jump on the boat, went by Grasshopper house. You know, and you know, show you the vibes that we're dealing with. And then man come on board, you know, just tell me what's up. We say, you just sort out everything. You know? Yeah. And them things make the thing just so international and so upful. You see, I can't just say, no, the man, I'm going to tell you, back in them time, people were hungry.
Behind me.
He's been hired for the night.
Out of St. John, we have the Innovation Band. Please give them a round welcome. Crucial welcome.
Thank you, St. Croix. Sha-la-la-la-la-la-la means I love you. Alright, don't you know, pretty girl, now sha-la-la-la-la-la-la-la means I love you. Alright, hey, the look in your eyes, girl, your pretty face drives me crazy. And the look in my eyes, girl, sincerity, yet I'm lonely. Ooh, you know I've seen you time and time again, running up and down with your so-called friend. Now I know it's hard to understand the way I feel, this feeling.
Neil, the Apostle Daniel, is an energetic dancehall artist that was raised in the Harvey community. He first used the name Heartless as an up-and-coming dancehall artist, but eventually changed his name to the Apostle after getting feedback on the mischaracterization brought on by such a name for a youth with a big heart. Saji described his first encounter with the Apostle.
Man, Apostle, let me tell you about Apostle now. Even before all of this what we talking about. Yo,
brother?
Yeah, I had a studio in Atlanta. Yeah, and that's the problem with us, you know. Because Pops don't have the studio and he called me. And he said, Saji, I got 2 artists I want to send for you to work with. I said, Pops, I could only work with one man because all them time, Desiree and so used to be in my studio recording. Okay. And so that's when she changed from her first name and first daughter, Empress Desiree.
Okay.
You check?
Yeah.
So I tell him, man, I you know. So then he tell me, he said, I'm going to send you the music. He sent me the music for a young lady named Aja. I don't know if you remember she. A short girl look like a Trini. Used to go around the place singing all over, mashing up the place. And then he sent me, I said, I'm going to send you a Heartless. But when he sent them, I listened to the two of them and really, the name Heartless I don't kind of trouble because you know my young Rasta them table, you know. And by you know he Heartless, it's like yo, by you. It's like kind of way looking at it like just a did. Back in them time. But it's a good brethren, you know, brethren with a good heart, you know.
Yes,
You check, but I decide to bring Aja instead.
Okay.
You know, she was good, she was really road ready. She had the looks, the voice, everything. You know, when I see the picture and the thing. But the only problem with Aja now, when she come up there, she didn't tell me she was pregnant. So that the kind of went sideways. But after that now, I come down, I meet Apostle and saw Heartless, man. I kept doing. I can't believe that's the day you get it. I when I beat the bedroom still, man, the bedroom just up full and airy. You check it? Yeah, so you know that's a good brethren. We do some good music. I do some song with Apostle that I ain't even lose yet. And I tell you, if when I lose them, Jah will, you know,
yes,
it's gonna be some serious tune.
And the Lord said that He be lights. There was lights in all creation. Real tonight when you're dead, that's there is something about it to finish it. Want to finish it. Want to finish it. There is something about it to finish it. There was a call about it to the end. My friend, there's something about it to finish it. Want to finish it. Want to finish it. Then there's something about it to finish it. Listen, I don't know what is real for what is not real. We had 2,000, we get to his battlefield. We show we saw, put up the shield. The rest of our business. Well, now I can feel what I was. And make them skin peel. Try to open, like a road like a wheel. We don't reach the point, the truth must be revealed. We don't talk about the knowledge. No music. Let me see the people there with me. Who know they get the life is hard? Let me see you. And this is only for ghetto people. If you know you live in a big house, shh, be quiet. But the ghetto people them there who suffering. You know what the talking about them trying to do now? Tax the school children, pay them $5 so they can keep their cell phone. If ghetto life hard, then him sing now. Ghetto life hard, hard like cement is. Ghetto life hard like cement. Music expression now. Now listen now. And then listen.
People jump, get your life hard like cement. These are the chronicles of my life. My destiny to the life. Hard like cement, music expression of my soul. And so my talent to the life. These are the chronicles of our life. It's in my destiny to the life. Why, I check it, listen, I go. The streets of still enough don't feel. Girls getting pregnant at the age of 13. The rich drive around in them new limousine. You want to get the youths are playing with the M16. Pass the bullet drinks out, a little girl start scream. They dead without a tank, the C-14. Because everybody looking for something. West side they're dead, they like poison. Get what all life famous. See the west side. You see the west people and you crazy. To the west side, to the west side. I'm bringing you words of power, words of wisdom. I'm the messenger for the old and the young. The breath of life flows through my lungs. Emmanuel, cause I to speak in a tongues. No man on earth knows another man heard. What is these words without no word? This forbidding and village, Kennedy and Shabber. Kennedy, let's do some work. Life is what you make it. One life to live, so personal. You know you, like family, life is what you make. Oh Lord, oh Lord, oh Lord, oh Lord, oh Lord. When you work so set on promotion, done big and in charge. Don't let them take advantage of people. Don't let them take advantage of you, my teachers. Let it rain now, let it rain now. Looking for people to make them mama and the dick. Now they want me much to get to you stadium. So we not this Armageddon. Lord give me more wisdom. The word to the people in the physical tongue. They give poor people the minimum and they take the maximum. Now they want me much to get to you. Poor people again, poor people again. Yo, yo, yo. And then me sing. I love to see the get to you. Do like this. Extreme, extreme. They'll never be landing you down. You can't hear you sing, cause you know it. Hey, we love to see the ghetto youth them. Extremely bad, extremely bad. They'll never be landing you down. Now when the Lion family them there, this is unity. Come forward, Lion family, come forward. We're still, you know. Yeah, man. A-A-I. Look at the love to see the ghetto youth them. Extremely. Whenever we land with you now, I love to feel the ghetto youth and them extremely glad. Whenever we land with you down, yo, 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 big commercial, yeah, yo.
Russ Attitude, also known as Brian Goodwin, and Russ Batch, also known as Julian Comerbatch, are inseparable Rastafari brethren that have played a major role in the development of Virgin Islands reggae music from the late 1990s to the 2000s. There's a special affinity among reggae fans for both of these artists who grew up in Frangipani and Estate Glen. They are truly admired for their ability to transform the Rastafarian experience into conscious lyrics and music. It was on the border between Frangipani and Glen that we were able to finally have a conversation with both these artists.
It was a battle, you know, but yet still, you know, we as Rasta keep faith in the highest, you know, so we just have to keep moving as skillfully and diligently as possible within the music realms, you know. Before I forward, there's always been a fight with Rastafari as far as man and man being Rastafari and having a tip on the head and the smoking of the herb and so on, you know. But that fight was nothing of our concern really. It was more about dealing with the music, you know, and putting out what the Most High has inspired us to put out, which is jam music, you know, conscious music, you know, for everyone, you know, not just for I community. And even if we had it for our community, it spread like a root through the earth, you know. So the things started.
Yeah, so Batch, the man is a producer of Cultural Name 1 and 2, right? Yeah, what was the vibe? Because I know what the system as it is ain't easy doing a works like that. Tell me what the vibes that led to the production of that and some of the artists them
Well, I would really say that greatly for and I, it was through the inspiration of just the Rastafari and striving to hold on to a cultural identity that felt more comfortable in comparison to what we were raised up with, strictly in the Virgin Islands. So, in a big part for it, that was a big part for me, just holding on to that African identity, culture, and it was I wouldn't say it was difficult at all because it was really a joyful time and to be around other musicians and singers and that felt the same way too, that just wanted to express something that we weren't taught to express traditionally through our educational or societal system per se, and expressing this felt in a spiritual way. It felt spiritual. It felt a deeper connection of self. And so it was just, I would just say, though there was challenges because we were learning on the fly, learning to engineer, produce, mastering, vocals, voicing, it was just a God blessed time, just give thanks for the opportunity and the energy that we felt at the time because it was a great sense of unity and camaraderie and wanting to sharing songs and, it was almost like monthly or weekly we'd hear a new artist or new music coming out and the messages were predominantly always consciousness and, so it was just really a great time and an opportunity that really came forward for us with Cultural Linear One primarily because we were in the process of working on Russ Attitude's album, Happiness.
So the song Happy Cool, what bring that on? I mean, today we hear about the violence and it seemed like you were pleading with the people to cool out.
Well, the thing about it is that from the era that we grew up in the Virgin Islands in St. Croix or VI, you could see the violence escalating from the early 90s. I would probably say with introduction of crack cocaine and all of that. So by the time the 2000s came around, it was a evident thing, that it's liable to be murdered, whereas in the 80s, that was, we never heard anything like that. So by the time the 2000 come, I think we were already desensitized as a community. To us coming as returning back home after many years abroad, Boston in different states and the 10 plus years, maybe one wasn't so desensitized to it as much. Man was like, still looked at it as like, geez, small place. Why we murdering each other like that, and nobody seemed to be taking it, and it's just, the fact that in 2000 we put out that song Cool, let's ask him to stop with the violence and gun violence, and where we are to now in 2022, its magnitudes is even greater than where we were in 2000.
Too much gunplay, too much gun talk, too much gun war. Me a beg on no be cold. All of the kill if you go stop. The all of the body they will drop on the block. Me a talk Mumby Joe and Abavio, Shabot and Hurricane. Me a beg on no be cold. All of the kill if you go stop. Too much ghetto you get stabbed in a back. But no come on the scene. One it clean, flying the red, gold and green. Them get confused. Now them have drive by a sunny aisle. Innocent blood that a touch the side. Them get confused. No pure gunshot a bust tonight. Me a beg on no fi Cool Williams the lie.
Attitude now.
We saw it a whole different way, Yeah.
The man CD that the first one I have, I don't know if you had one before, that Happiness. So but say have a cool and the man come out with Happiness now.
Yeah.
So show the people them how the inspiration come about, because I understand it was at the same time Cultural Linear One was being produced.
Well, it's the same kind of realms, happiness, togetherness, openness, living in Jah love, Jah love we representing, which in all we have within I and I, so it's just to bring that out of the ones that who feel they don't have it, and within this music, and the word sound of the music that's coming from the music, you know.
So cool with the violence and get some happiness.
Yeah, get some happiness. So
Yes, sir.
that was the meditation.
Yes, sir.
And the message that we were trying to push in that time and dispensation, because you know, it was rough for we coming home to some place that we say, yeah, this home, and then we hearing all the violence, we hearing this going on, Regina was just dead, and you know, those kind of things that kind of touch home, you know. So being that we have the talent to sing, but have a talent to produce music, we put that together and put out this thing as a world sound for people, because we know people love music, you know, and it's not like we just get up one day and say, okay, it's just in us, you know what I mean? And when we figure out it's in us, we use that as a light to shine and the youth them, because there's a lot of youth who want to do music, but if they get a positive message and a message that they feel like, you know what, I could do this too. You know, that was the whole vibes and the meditation of it, because we no violent man. So we gonna come here and see the violence and put no fuel to the fire and say, yeah man, shoot him up. And no, we come here to sing about love, come here to sing about joy, peace, happiness, togetherness. You know?
Happiness, togetherness, righteousness, godliness, living in the world. Happiness, togetherness, righteousness, godliness, living in the world.
So your contribution on the Culturalium 1, Stop Chat, that was a deep song. I recall it, you know, listening to it back in the days, and you know, a youth man, knowing the man, you know, we grew up in the same neighborhood. The man as I was a, you know, minor to eye. To hear the man come now and saying Stop Chat.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about that.
Well, you know, there's a lot of talk. People talk about this, talk about that. You know, when I forward the song Stop Chat, you know it not we're saying the king is still living, because, you know, they talk about the king being dead, but the king still live it within I and I.
Yes, right.
I still walk it like the king, you know.
Yes, right.
I still try as that example that he has set, you know. So no, Stop Chat, man. You know, the king still living. You see I and I there.
Yes, sir. They didn't understand the Trinity.
Still, you know?
Yes, sir.
So that's what it was all about.
That was the power of the Trinity.
Yeah, bringing that mental awareness to all the youth, them who is princes and the man them who is kings. That yeah, Stop Chat, man. The king still there. You as a king still there. You know, Haile Selassie is within all I and I. You know, yes, sir.
Stop chat. You know it not what you're saying. The king is still living. Rastafari not dead. Stop chat. You know it not what you're saying. The king is still living. The fire not dead. Look to the east. There is a fire burning. Who could it be? It's I and I King, the one to foreign, who is overlooking all the tales they tell the youth man. Never tell them about the king correlation. Never teach them where the king roots come from.
So, but the man mentioned DC. So, how was the music vibes out abroad? Because one thing man said in this is that the artists them had to spread the music out. You know, you don't make enough home with your own people. What was the experiences with the music out there in the mainland?
Well, I really came into really becoming, like I was a student of reggae music by moving to Boston, you know, in the early 90s. And we started to play within certain bands, a band by the name of Danny Tucker, artist by the name of Jamaica by the name of Danny Tucker, me and brothers Reggie Beezer and Eddie Beezer, you know, rest in peace Eddie, you know. But we started to play music in Boston, like just playing backing this artist. And then from there we went into doing just backing other artists as well, but started to back more of the artists that would come to Boston from Jamaica to do stage shows and different things. And that, so we found a group by the name of Motion that did that for, you know, maybe 5 or 6 years. And that was really my initiated into to really, you know, the real depth of reggae and really what it represented. And in the latter part of, I would say that 5-6 years, it became more than just music style. It became more that man really understood the necessity to hold on to culture and to hold on to things that you have a right to define, not what people define for you. And that's something that reggae and the roots music, not only in the 90s, but as well, it was just like a reminder. It's almost like how they say, bring up a child in the way that they should go to scripture, say, and in the end they shall not depart. So my beginning was reflecting back on songs that I heard from the 70s, Aswad and Bob Marley and Steel Pulse, and those things came back to me, like to remember that to really to gravitate that these things weren't just songs or melodies, but the deeper meaning and the messages and the resistance and in it. So I would say that really took by actually participating fully and being embraced by the Jamaican community in Boston. Yeah, the culture in Africa and the reality that who we are, not defined by colonialists, really took part through the reggae music, past and present. And that brought us into, when we returned home, just applying the same teachings, in a sense, that we received, so 20, 30 years prior. One of my most influential songs will always be Wild Goose Chase by Steel Pulse. This came out maybe in the 80s. But again, I was listening to it and the lyrics in the song and the message in the song. Man, I've seen it played out evidently, like prophetically. So I still remember that song till today. So I'm just saying that these seeds were planted and it just took a time through certain experience. And that's what we strive to bring through the music, that, hey, we could live in the American system and still love and respect ourselves as Africans, and that's a big part of what we try to push through the music, that our ancestors fought hard and struggle and sacrifice for us to have the right to proclaim love for self, hatred against no one, but just love for the root of self, and that's what we try to push in the music and what we represented, trying to return home.
Attitude, tell me a little bit about Olive Tree.
All of we go through things in life, Fortunately, I have a way to bring out that within a song, sitting under the ancient olive tree. I was, to be honest, I don't really remember exactly what I was reading, but I was reading a book or a pamphlet or something, and I talked about a olive tree, and a man was sitting under the olive tree, and we don't have no olive tree here on the island, so I was wondering, man, I wonder if we have an olive tree here, or and the song came to me then, and at that point in life, I was going through a few little things, a few little personal things, and that's how that song come to I, sitting under the ancient olive tree.
It's a symbology of peace.
Yeah, peace, and giving thanks for everything that I've went through and still going through, and giving thanks to the Almighty for being here. Going through the struggle is a thing, but being here to go through the struggle is better.
Thank you, Jah, give me life. Though my enemies surround me, they still can't harm me. Jah is by my side. Thank you, Jah, for your merciful ways. I love you, Jah, for the rest of my days. To Jah, I sing this melody, yes. To Jah, I sing this song of praise. My obedience guides my faith. Thank you to Jah, Jah, verse, trust and obey. I pray that He will bless me, yeah. Sing with me now, sing with me, Lord to me. Sitting under me, ancient. Burning good, reminiscing about the good things Jah has done for me. I'll testify, always there for me. Jah always cares for me. Yeah. I know my God, He forgives me.
Back in wrapping up, Lift Up Your Consciousness as a very inspirational song. Of course, just the man vibes alone, you could not tell where the man would say that, but show the fans them out there what bring the meditation to lift up your consciousness and the meaning behind it.
It is just the experience of learning and growth, which one try to apply and open oneself to at all times, which is, you can always learn something.
What the name of the song?
Lift up your conscious, lift up.
You got to lift up your consciousness. Your life to live. You receive what you give. Upright and progressive. Your children that provide good skills. Steady submission to your will. Lift up your consciousness. Hey, universe, mystical powers at work. Come on, democracy. Yes. I know I've been through many rivers. Turkish ones, mental depression never hold me. Give chance the thanks to the be smart, not foolhardy. No be arrogant, morally them moving lower. Power like big extravagant, pushing and shoving for the top rank. Betraying one another, piece of money in a bank. Check out the family of the vain and the ignorant. When good and calamity going, them in an instant. Yeah, got them man trying to hide the truth from humanity. Yeah. But you know the earth, the truth that's hidden, it must reveal. Lift up your consciousness. It's your life to live. You receive what you give. Upright and progressive. The children that provide good skills. Steady submission to your will. Lift up your consciousness. Hey, universe, mystical powers at work. Come on, democracy. Hey.
We're here with Laurent Alfred, better known as Tippy. He's a musician, audio engineer, and co-owner of I Grade Records in St. Croix. I Grade was founded in 2001. This documentary have started about the evolution of reggae music in the Virgin Islands from about the late 1970s to the 2000s. Tippy, what was the music scene like when the I and the partner Kenyatta, Ayatollah, and Van founded I Grade?
Yeah, man. Well, my music journey started when I was about 21 years old, a little later than most musicians. I was finishing college and finished being an athlete and had an urge to learn an instrument. So I taught myself, went to classes to learn hand drums first, then acoustic guitar, and I picked up a drum machine, then a keyboard, and slowly over time, in the early 20s of my life, started to learn music and had a love for it. So at this time, I was living in New York City, met a brethren named Kenyatta, as you mentioned, and he and I would link up regularly to build music, not for no reason other than we had ideas and we had a love of sound and reggae music. And fast forward about 4 years maybe, I'm in law school, home, any chance I get to just be with my family and to make music. And I linked with a brethren named Danny Dredd in Richmond. And Danny Dredd is a producer like me, and we built a rhythm together. And Vaughn came by the studio some weeks after I left, heard the rhythm, loved it, voiced it, and it ended up being a song called If I Betray. And that was the first collaboration, first song I'd ever released that I've been a musician or producer on. So I'm fresh to music, have a very sort of innocent but zealous kind of approach to the music, not really knowing what I'm doing, but loving it and learning as I go. So it was a great honor to have Vaughn of Midnight Band, who I'd been watching from high school days, play at Sandbar, play at Club 54. And him to voice the song and it being on the radio was an encouragement for me as a music producer to say, well, okay, let's do this. Let's do something with music. Because as you know, as I mentioned, I'm on all kind of other tracks for what I could do in life, whether it's law or teaching. I was a teacher for many years, a middle school teacher. So music came like a calling, and Vaughn is very much involved in that because the first album we released was called Nemo Zion Rasta. It was a collection of about 13 songs and a couple with Desiree as well. And this album was the vehicle that launched I Grade Records. We had created this body of work, and Kenyatta and I decided we needed a way to push it out. So kind of the music came before the label. We didn't launch a label and say, let's make music. We made the music, and then the label came as a vehicle to push the album. So that's how I Grade Records started. And Kenyatta and I just medsed on what kind of name we wanted to represent. And the highest grade you can get to is the unification, the oneness, the oneness of everything in the universe, or between I and I. And that's the level we wanted our music to be at the I grade. You know what I mean? So it made sense, and we roll with it. And now it's 36 albums later, a lot of music we've released over the past 20, 21 years, you know, so.
Yes, that's interesting, you know, and everywhere we go and all the people we talk to, certain names keep coming up: Van Benjamin, Ronnie Benjamin, Dean Pan. So it's good to hear that it's like one big happy family. But when I saw the I on national TV on the Virgin Islands, nice. How did that come about eventually? And they ended up on ABC Primetime on the Wendy Williams show.
Well, that's the strength of that song. Pressure wrote in our studio together, in Aqua Sound Studio. You know, we put together this song really on pure inspiration, but then thoughtful execution of what we wanted to do. The inspiration came with the hook, and he just listening to this very upful major chord reggae rhythm, and the hook come to him one time. He starts singing it. You know what I mean? Nice, so nice. He starts singing it in the studio, and he feel the energy. And then we start to meds like, this could be a real example, opportunity to share some VI history with a whole generation, with all the listeners, everybody who's gonna hear this song. So we planned out which kind of names we wanted to mention, who was worthy of a mention in that song. You know, and he mentioned so many pillars of VI history. And then when the song was released, it became an organic, sort of natural VI unofficial anthem among young people, among the elementary school students in particular, because the radio was playing it, DJs were playing it, the youths them know the lyrics to the song. And after that, tourism got involved and was able to push the song through their promotional networks and take it on as an official song of the tourism campaign for people to visit the VI. So tremendous blessing for Pressure and I and the whole team. So that's what led to the ABC Wendy Williams show. And it was a good experience to be on live American
TV. I love that song. My daughter is 13 years old, even she does be singing it. Yes, yeah, and I first met the guy at the I with Red Eye Band. We did something at the Culture Lounge,
right?
You know, way back. I remember Harry Moe actually was on the keyboard in them days. So just tell me, Red Eye Band, Zion I Kings, tell us the viewers about some of the artists that you were involved with, some of the accomplishments you had over the years, because you say you're fresh to this music, but to me you're one of the main ingredients to getting us to the level where we are.
Well, everything that fresh has to mature and age, you know, and 2001 I was fresh, now we are 21 years later, I got some gray in the beard and life goes on, so we give thanks. But yeah, man, the early days of VI Reggae was something that had a whole different character from today, I would say. VI Reggae has gone through so many ups and downs, and you know, there's an era that you really reason about in this film, about from the 70s up until 2000, that I only heard about. But from the late 90s, I'm hearing about, you know, Umoja Bana, going down in town to listen to Umoja, listen to Wayland playing guitar, and then seeing Midnight playing, like I said, every week, Midnight would play. And it developed this groundswell of reggae music in the island that I don't think we'll ever have a period like that again. You know what I mean? It was like a real, organically, everybody was chanting one kind of consciousness and positivity. There wasn't no slack lyrics, not by any law, not by any organization. It's just naturally you had 50 to 100 different artists throughout the island, chanting, recording in studio, releasing songs, releasing CDs, and all of it is known for its lyrical content. I think that's what made VI Reggae most known, more than the deep reggae sound, the deep roots, the slow midnight sound that a lot of people associate with VI Reggae. More than that, what gave us our identity is the content. And to see so many different houses. Dean Pan had albums coming out with Glamorous Records in around 2000. The album was called Homegrown. Seminal album in VI Reggae history, because that album was playing every place on the island. You can't go no place and not hear Army, not hear Apostle, not hear songs from that album. And then Culturelenium came out, you know what I mean, with a next set of VI artists through the Aya Heights label. And then different albums start bubbling out. 2001, I started releasing music with Kenyatta and Vaughn, and we started releasing music, a couple albums a year, and you just had this real like a groundswell, like water coming up from the ground, you know what I mean? Just everywhere, it's just music. So, then we kind of go through, growing pains and things not working together like they used to, but VI Reggae is a journey. I don't think I answered your question at all.
You gave us a lot of information. We talked about the Red Eye Band. I was interested in if you recall some of the artists.
Yeah, you asked me about the artists that took me on a tangent. But the bands I've been involved with have been a great vehicle to release, to share music with the public here in St. Croix. And then eventually touring, because as you mentioned, the Red Eye Band was the first band Kenyatta and I had, and Waylon was in it, Harry Moe, Catalyst. We would back up everybody around the place. We had a show called VI Root Sundays at Culture Lounge. Lava, Excalibur, Ancient King, Revelation, Revolution, everybody coming through, DJs coming through. So we worked with a lot of VI artists throughout the years, different shows. We'd back up 4 or 5 artists in a night. That transition into other bands. Nyora was touring for a good bit. We were Nyora's backing band for a while. And then the Zion Kings is my production team, but also a band with 2 other brothers. One is Ja David of Zion High and Moon of Luster Kings. These are my co-producers that release almost all the music I released for the past 7 to 10 years. So we have a band and we backed up many artists. Pressure, we backed up Pressure for years. So live music is definitely a big part of my journey, and I give thanks for all the live bands in St. Croix that set the road for me and our group to kind of fit in and start to tread that road, which eventually took us all to Africa, all to Europe, all to different continents and countries playing this music. So
great, man, great.
I know.
Yeah, in evolution of reggae music in the Virgin Islands, we talked about the official music of the Virgin Islands being Kwelbe in 2003.
Right.
And I've heard this song 100 years of Strong Together.
Yeah.
How did that come out? That seemed to blend reggae and Kwelbe with the older generation and the youth now. And it's very interesting. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Sure, yeah. 100 Years Strong was made around the time of the centennial. The centennial was the 100th anniversary of the transfer, the sale of these lands and its people from one country to the next. Yeah. So a very introspective moment. We think in numbers as humans, and when you see 100 years, okay, that's a marking time. So I think it was the VI Council of the Arts and other organizations put out a call to artists to reflect on this and contribute some artwork for the gathering of ideas and, what some would call a celebration. We were careful to call commemoration because it wasn't an occasion to celebrate, but it's an occasion to look back to what happened over these years. So 100 Years Strong was even more intentional than VI Nice. I said VI Nice, we planned it out. This one, we really planned it out because the vision to blend the Kwelbe and reggae, that was my idea to kind of musically blend them in a way that I hadn't heard yet. So we found a nice step-as reggae rhythm with a good 4 on the floor kick, just like Kwelbe. And then when Stanley came through and he came with Bronco and Edgy and they heard the song, the man pulled out the banjo and the banjo just sync in with the steppers, and it just felt like a natural fit. So once we had the music down, Pressure sat down to write and wrote another masterful song that again touches on different historical figures. So, man, I think, just to say quickly, Pressure and I Grade Records, we have released a trilogy of songs with videos, right? One is VI Nice. The next is Stand Firm, which deals with the Queen Mary firebomb. It reenacts it in a movie style. And then 100 Years Strong. And it's something I'm very proud of to leave as a legacy for VI youth, for St. Croix youth, for children to see visually. Enough youths learn visually more so than books. And to have these 3 songs and videos there for the people is an honor, because Pressure is really a special artist. We have a lot of special artists in the VI, but he has an ability to touch and reach people that's really unique. So
yes, sir.
Yeah, man.
Yes, sir.
Check them out.
Yeah. So what's going on? What we expect from I Grade now in the present? Any project you want to share before we wrap up?
Enough projects in the works. I still have projects with Vaughn. Believe it or not, Vaughn left so much music. I have another album of unreleased music from 20 years ago, stuff that didn't make the albums that's definitely worthy to be heard. So I'm polishing up that album. I have an album with Perfect Gidimani from Jamaica in the works. I have an album with Lutan Fire in the works, also from Jamaica. Danny and I are always doing work, so Danny I. So there's projects that will continue to come forward. Dub, I'm releasing a lot of dub albums.
In the year 2000, there was a band from the Princess area of Christiansted called Gravity. The late Ilax and Gabriel Selassie were vocalists and percussionists, respectively. Gravity performed the original song at the 2000 Royal Reggae Fest and backed up Anquatep, Excalibur, and The Peacemaker. This ends this segment of the evolution of reggae music in St. Croix, Virgin Islands, which barely touched the surface of reggae bands and artists who contributed to the Virgin Islands reggae music industry. It is our hope to interview and highlight other artists performing in the 2000s, including female artists such as Empress Desiree, Kenya Eugene, Mada Nile, Rima, Tia, Blackness Crease, Cerise King, Sister Joyce, Empress Aima, Oma Lioness, and male artists such as Harry Mo, Junior P, Abja, Jarubal, K, Sekou, Ras B, Revolution, Hugo Rance, Flusher, Jadid, Nayora, Revelation the Royal, Pressure Bus Pipe, and bands like Reggae Bubblers, Jacob Seed, Bamboo Station, Upper Level Fire Train, and VI Fire Band. More to come.
Them man is like family, differently, Them man, you just can't just sit down and talk about them brethren, they like, just like run mouth thing, Yeah, cause them man is so serious, man, with the music. Them man is man with practice every day. My lad, every day, religiously. I remember the click. He had the rock, used to play drum, bandalia and guitar. He had a whack and quartet. And keyboard, and I like sing. Jano used to play keyboard with them too.
Yes.
Webster. You check it, and them man would, I always respect them, man. All of them. Always.
I brought a pass to the percussion. Is his name slipping me right now?
Oh, you're talking about Shima, Gabriel. Yeah. Yes, the fire man, that's the man, Gravity man too.
Yeah.
That's the Congo man there, for Gravity. That's an upful virgin, my virgin.
Yes, out of a massive out of Safari Rally, veteran Rastaman for a long time. So I want all to give it up for the Gravity Band. Now we're here for the Gravity Band. Big things are going this night, man. Yes, I. Greetings. Well, before we play the music, see, I'll introduce the group a little here. Right here on my extreme right, we have the guitarist, the man Bandere, I have the man called Gabriel Selassie, and the drums, you have the man Mose, and the bass, the man Abu, and this man here, called Tappy. You have back vocalist, the man called Olassi, and this man, same way, an artist, he really move it or something, That's the man Calabar. The keyboard, the man called Wap and Quartet. The man that keyboard is safe. I myself, I relax. And I made this song, what I mean? In the short future, we'll come to see this soon. Yes, I. Since 1999, somebody violence on poor people's minds. They might after millions of this earth to help solve our problem. They say them just can't do it, so we have to praise the Almighty God and say,
God for me. We are living things of things, Lord of Lord. I did say Nazi, Babylon God, good God, you God for me. We are living things of things, Lord of Lord. I did, but consistency must be in your arena. Well, every guy who knows that you can do that. Grow up the talent, I got the strength. Take a real life, overrun them land. With a little stick of my argument. What kind of mind got my heart still? Let's show you oversee. Girl, I want to feel it. And they are the talent, and do it that way. Life in a hammer, no glass, not a hill. Hear me now, no glass, not a hill. Live as one. Don't stop the fighting amongst ourselves.